Right, so back again after my haircut.
So who was it then?
That was the barber.
The barber.
Yeah, saying that I was due in today and I'd missed it, but I'm not due in for another 2 weeks. So he's going, it must be another Harry. I'm going, well, must be.
How professional are we? Excuse me, I'll just break off this podcast to take a phone call of someone I have no idea who it is.
Yeah, it's my barber. I wonder what he wants. I thought he might be stuck in the snow.
Well, you never know. Right, well, what were we saying? Right, the divisive nature of electric vehicles, and to the point of where some people genuinely feel...
For me, it's become like the vaccine.
Yeah.
People are either dead against it, or they go, well, right, I'll have the vaccine.
Yeah, all for it.
Yeah. There's no... I mean, is it as divisive as Marmite?
Ooh, you know what? I don't think I've ever had Marmite.
I do like Marmite, but...
I'm too scared to try it, because if I don't like it, then it's awful. If I do like it, I'll end up eating too much of it.
Too much of it, yeah.
I'm too scared to try Marmite.
It's just, yeah.
But it's I think it's worse than Marmite. I think it's,
people
like you say, vaccine level.
Well, people don't get upset about Marmite, do they? You don't see people,
Yeah.
protesting and shouting about Marmite, do you? It's like, I don't like Marmite. Oh, okay, that's fair enough.
Well, there's a recent Drive Tribe video with James May on it, and he was answering questions that people put in the comment section of various videos he did, and one of them was about his Model S, and it basically went, why do people get so incensed over electric vehicles? Just don't buy one.
Well, yeah.
We were 13 years plus from the sale of new cars only.
Yeah.
Before you then even have to think about getting one. So why? He said, just don't buy one. I don't understand this.
If you're that set against it, you could probably drive a petrol or diesel car for the rest of your life if you really wanted to.
Yeah, probably.
It's, if that's what you want to do, you do that. It might cost you a lot more in the long run.
I mean, some of the comments I get, they either go down the greeny thing. Oh, look at you virtue signalling. It's like, this video's about, I don't know, the cost of fuel. I've not even mentioned the environment. Why have you just suddenly come on my video and gone, look at you, you virtue signalling idiot? I'm like, what?
Those don't taking, their bag for life to shopping, no? It's.
Do you think it's because the government?
Is it jealousy?
No, I think it's the government are pushing it, and therefore there's a definite anti-government thing out there. No matter what the government may say,
I'm not doing that.
Any government now.
They're saying
yeah. Someone's telling me to do something.
Do you know what it is? You can't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
You're not my dad.
So they're basically children. I mean, if those that say, look, electric vehicles won't work for me because they're too expensive or I can't charge, that's just a reason I can't own one.
Yeah.
But like you said, I mean, some of them are, and if I reply, it's like I've slept with their sister or their mum, or, well, it could be the same person.
The third person, yeah.
It really is. You can almost see the anger in the typing.
I was about to say that, yeah. You can all, it's there's passion there, isn't there? It's more than just a feeling, isn't it? It's, they're dead against this.
Is it something to do with the fact that people are very passionate about their cars, and this effectively is taking away part of that soul, which we've mentioned before, like a noise or a heritage? It's something new, so therefore,
I think it's maybe a mixture of things. Is it something? I mean, a lot of these sort of things start with somebody reading something online. Is it that they believe that
Daily Mail don't help?
Yeah, that's all the batteries are going to kill all the children.
Oh, yeah, I get that a lot.
Is Tesla owned by paedophiles?
No, it's racism now.
Oh, is it racism?
No, it's serious. In all serious note, there's been
Really?
they're getting done for racism. Oh, some suit in America that
Tesla...
Transport Evolved have just done a video on. Basically, they are I think it's by people working and who have worked there before. Years of racism or something like that.
At Tesla.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So that no doubt will. It's already. In fact, it already has appeared in my comment section about an old video I did about Teslas.
Yeah.
And someone going, oh, well, I won't own this car now because it's built by racists. I mean, this is something that hasn't even gone to court yet. And then,
I did apply to work for Tesla, and on the box it says you must have 5 years experience in building motor vehicles. And the other box was, are you a racist? I clicked no, didn't get a job.
Oh, well, that must be proof then. But it's just proof that now that's another reason for someone to come and have a go at me for owning one.
Well, I think, is it just people in general are looking for excuses not to like them? And therefore, another, it's another feather in my hat.
Well, it's like that cobalt thing. That comes up a lot. Oh, well, cobalt and it genuinely does. A lot of it can come from the Congo, and they're meant to use child labour a lot. bad human rights records. So therefore, by buying something with lots of batteries that uses cobalt, you're basically perpetuating and paying into this thing.
If you're buying your clothes from ASOS or ASOS, whatever they call it, or from a lot of other places online, they're using sweatshops in Bangladesh to make the clothing, and therefore you're just as bad as them.
Well, no, I don't think that's as bad, apparently. I mean, I don't know about you, but oil comes from...
Sorry, we've just got a
crazy cat near us having its silly half hour. And I know that oil comes from lots of really good places that have had no bad human rights records whatsoever. But on the cobalt front...
Saudi Arabia being probably one of the...
Exactly. On the cobalt front, though...
Yeah.
Cobalt is used in batteries, as we know, and how many devices in every single person's house has a lithium-ion battery in it? Phones, laptops, iPads.
Stuff in bedside cabinets.
No, I don't think they're rechargeable. They'd probably still use AA. But yeah, that's the point. It's like, well, hang on a minute. How big does the battery have to be before you are outraged at the cobalt argument?
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say there's probably, weight per weight, more batteries in mobile phones than in electric cars.
At the moment, I know in terms of lithium usage, more is for consumer items than cars.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same for cobalt. And there is a higher content for like laptop batteries than there is in the car batteries, because they're actively working to get rid of it. But a lot of people, again, and I'm sure someone will be listening to this, they don't know that cobalt is also used as a catalyst in refining petrol and diesel. So for decades, people have been driving around something which has something which might come from the Congo and the child.
Yeah, and that's not a problem.
For decades that's not been a problem. But now, because it's associated with something they're told to buy,
I guess the thing is,
it's a bad thing.
If for whatever reason you don't like electric vehicles, you have to look at any way to sort of arm yourself, aren't you, with the argument as to why. Well, why don't you? And you're going to look at all these things. But you're not necessarily going to look into it that deeply just to know that, cobalt is used in making petrol.
Yeah.
So it's having all these, these weapons you can throw at people and say, well, you have an electric car, and it's bad because of X, Y, and Z. Yeah. I'm going to drive around in my V12.
What I find a lot as well is that they'll say something like that, and then I will reply, because I have an inability not to reply to trolls. I'll reply saying, well, actually, that's not true, with a link with evidence, and it's irrefutable.
Yeah.
And then they will come back with something that's completely unrelated, but still a bad negative thing. Oh, well, you're your milk float then. I'm going to drive a milk float. And electric cars, some of the fastest accelerating cars on the road. Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, but they're killing the environment because you can't recycle batteries. Well, I think you find you can, and here's the evidence. Oh, well, what about... It's like, just something. Leave the comment section if you... But that's the thing.
I think it's okay to say, I don't like them, and I won't have one.
Or I can't afford one, or whatever. Yeah. But that's a reason, that's a reason that I can't get one, as opposed to, I hate these.
There's lots of things I don't like. I don't join communities online to tell people that I don't like it.
Well, it is true, isn't it? I mean, there are a certain group of people, shall I say, that post up on most of the videos I put up every week.
Yeah.
But it's always mega negative. And it's like, why are you repeatedly watching something you clearly don't like? Go away.
Quite funny. I mean, they must wait until Friday comes along and get the notification and go, oh, for God's sakes, he's done another.
Yeah, I'm going to. But then there's a conspiracy.
Audrey, I'll be down in a minute. I just need to reply to this comment here.
I'll see if I can find, whilst we're talking, what someone put up. I put it on my Twitter feed, actually. And basically, he said that there is a global global
conspiracy. I like these ones.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Global conspiracy. I'm just shooting down my Twitter feed.
I mean, all world leaders, no matter how much they hate each other, do like to carry off a good global conspiracy.
Well, the Earth is flat, of course, and they've kept that one going. Here we go. I've got it. We cannot keep funding the real cost and environmental damage battery vehicles cause in their manufacturing. And at no time have I ever mentioned the environment as a reason to buy it.
No.
They're just finding EV videos and going. Materials, supply chain, energy supply and infrastructure. It's battery vehicles and their combined costs are one of the biggest causes of energy price rises. So electric vehicles are causing energy price rises, apparently.
Not the cost of fuel going up.
No. And increasing taxation on goods.
So what they're saying is that what we should do is, because there's a shortage of gas will be a shortage of gas and fuel across the world, is we should mine more of it.
Yeah.
Because obviously
it's a finite resource.
Yeah.
But it goes on. Battery vehicles are a foolish alternative to engined vehicles, and in every respect, and this is the bit I like, mainstream media are being paid heavily to maintain the lie, including this, meaning my video. So I should say...
Actually, you did get sponsored, I must say, by the UK government, didn't you?
Yeah. So I have to say, well, thank you for putting me as part of the mainstream media. I do appreciate that on my
he's
YouTube channel.
Seen your highly skilled videos.
Well, yeah.
Professionalism there.
But if you think about this, even slightly analytically, he's saying there's...
He's got schizophrenia.
There's a mainstream media are pushing electric vehicles. Now, let's just think about that for a second. The electric vehicle lobbyists or companies that are behind them have got more clout and funding than the oil industry.
Well, I log on to a Daily Mail every day just to get my bout of people saying electric vehicles are amazing. You know, I haven't seen any articles on any of the mainstream news websites that says electric cars are a bad thing. Have you?
Never.
They're all saying that, you know, this is going to fix everything.
Yep.
World peace.
And this is the thing.
I believe Tesla sending Teslas to Ukraine as we speak.
It's cause of war.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's like he will probably genuinely believe that it's a mainstream media conspiracy, just like the flat earthers do that, like the anti-vaxxers do. Because and it's that I'm like, these people walk amongst us.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
I mean, it's like if he thinks. I'd love to talk to them in person and go, do you realise, are you saying that the oil industry can't compete with the electric vehicle industry?
It's a crazy concept. I think the thing is you probably couldn't argue with these people because they would just turn around and say, well, you're a non-believer. You know, they'll call you a sheep or whatever.
I've got a brilliant thing that I feel I need to read out.
Oh, go on.
It's about people who believe in conspiracy theorists, and it's from a psychologist. And apparently this kind of argument that he's putting forward is known as special pleading.
Special pleading?
Yep. It's an actual psychological thing.
Okay.
You essentially move the goalposts whenever someone asks for evidence to prove your point, a tactic that is commonly used in many conspiracy theories. With scientific results, it's usual for new findings to be presented to other researchers to scrutinise the methods and results before they are presented in a journal like
Well, you do sort of a...
known as peer review.
Yeah.
But if you, for example, were to ask why there is no credible research proving the dangers of vaccines, the link between 5G networks and COVID-19 symptoms in humans, you may be told that there is a concerted effort to prevent such evidence from being released. Indeed, the absence of reliable evidence is itself taken as proof of this conspiracy. The fact that major scientific institutions across the globe support the mainstream view only shows how good the cover-up has been.
It almost reminds me of a good old-fashioned witch hunt.
Yeah.
It's the same sort of thing, isn't it? You know, it's... I think sometimes, do people struggle to believe things because they don't want to understand it or because they don't understand it?
We're talking about a car, is it that difficult?
I don't know. I'm thinking that, I guess. With the whole flat Earth thing, is it? I mean, some of that's quite. We could go, well, I can't see the Earth being round because I can't see the curvature of the Earth, so therefore it must be flat.
You can see why, basically from like a child's point of view, like, well, it's not curved. I can see.
Child's point of view. Is that the intelligence of these?
Well, what was that? You showed me a YouTube video. No, not channel. I think it was basically a guy that was doing the bird thing.
Oh yeah. Birds Aren't Real, is it? Birds Aren't
Real. And basically, very briefly for the people that are listening, what was that?
So he'd started a movement up just as a joke where his friend said they were at some sort of rally and he had a blank bit of card and his friend said, write the weirdest thing on this card, and he wrote Birds Aren't Real, and he started a movement, and this movement now has gone across America and it's massive. And he knows that birds are real, but he started just to see how far it could go.
So it's like a psychological experiment.
Yeah, and that is massive. There's tens of thousands. Yeah, they've got.
And they think birds are drones, effectively.
Effectively, yeah. He's saying that all birds were killed by the Americans and replaced with drones to spy on everybody. He knows this is false, but the character he puts on is somebody who goes, and he goes around preaching to crowds. And the majority of the people who follow him know it's just a joke, but a lot of the people who talk to try and convince them it's real actually fall for it.
So this is basic evidence of, well, it's much bigger than the electric vehicle thing we're talking about here, but how someone will...
It's a social experiment, isn't it? Yeah. How easily it is to convince people into something. There was...
Sounds familiar, that is that.
Well, yeah. There's a comedian, wasn't there? Russell Kane, during lockdown, released a couple of YouTube videos as him dressed as a scientist, saying that the vaccine didn't work, but with stupid reasons as to why it didn't, as a joke. And they were used in America as is a British scientist saying that the vaccines don't work.
Wow.
And he was like, wow, that's
Now, without insulting potentially a good portion of our audience here, like 3 out of the 5 people listening.
Yeah.
There does seem to be a common theme from what you're telling me, although it could be because it's on YouTube, but you do seem to use the word in America a lot.
I guess America's just such a large country. If you looked at, if you called, in
sparse
Europe,
areas.
In Europe as a whole, you
don't really get that as much, but you do get a lot of anti-vaxxers.
You do get a lot of anti-vaxxers, yeah, but you get a lot of anti-vaxxers. A lot of people just fed up of being in lockdown, I think.
Yeah, but I think most of the European anti-vaccine marches are due to the fact that they believe that it is real, but they want the choice, not necessarily they're against the vaccine. They should choose if they want it, and ultimately they want to get out of vaccine because it's destroying jobs and things like that. Yeah. So it's a different reason to be anti-vaccine almost. It's not anti-vaccine, it's just anti-government telling me what to do again.
Yeah.
And I think it's back to this electric vehicles thing. No one's ever picketed against LPG when that came out. Do you remember when it became a bit of a thing? And it was cheaper. It's genuinely cheaper and meant to be greener as well.
Nobody went, I'm not doing that.
But because the government weren't saying, we're going to be banning petrol for LPG. If they had have done, I guarantee it'd have happened the same way.
Is it that people just, I know this is true, but people just don't like change, do they? I am used to this. I've done this all my life. Now I'm going to have to do something different because the government are telling me to.
Well, even when the seatbelts came out, people were saying that you're going to get killed with
They said they were more dangerous.
Yeah. It's a shame it's a podcast because there's loads of adverts and pictures from the 70s of effectively people being garroted in an accident because of the seatbelt.
Well, when they brought in the drink driving laws, though, the people, really kicking off about that, saying, well, how am I meant to go out and have a meal and then have a drink afterwards and drive home? I can't do that.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It is.
It's an infringement on my human rights.
Well,
the basic right to have a drink.
That's the thing, innit? They forget it's it's not a right to drive.
Yeah.
So therefore, you can have a drink and a meal. You just don't drive home for the good of everybody else, quite frankly.
I think the thing with electric cars, and again, this is repeating what we've gone over, is if you don't like them, don't drive them.
Yeah. If we look at it as well, 13 years from now, when the plug-in hybrids stop getting sold for new cars only, a plug-in hybrid that's not plugged in is essentially just a petrol engine.
It is, yeah.
So you can buy a petrol engine car. You can effectively buy something that you don't need to plug in until 2035.
And that's going to last another 10 or 15 years past then.
Well, yeah.
And that's going to last into 2050.
And a lot of these people that state this sort of thing in the comment section, like, well, I've got like a £250,000 12-year-old car. I've kept running for pennies. Right, so if you buy that car in 2035, you've got until 2047.
Yeah,
before you, according to your own usage.
So you'd be fine with it.
So again, we're talking 20 years, 25 years before you'd realistically be going to have no choice but to get one.
Yeah.
And then that's, like I say, a quarter of a century.
Be 70. Be 70 years old.
Wow. Think about even if you're young enough to be bothered, 25 years from now, things will be so different. Smartphones have been around, 12, 13, 14 years?
Oh, look at the changes that's made. The thing is, you've got to think, haven't you, is will mass transport change anyway in that more, you certainly see lots of youngsters on scooters.
Youngsters.
Youngsters. Young youngsters. Young youngsters then, on scooters. Scooters seem to be the really popular thing at the moment.
Especially the e-scooters.
Yeah, that's exactly, yeah. So
personal transportation is
going to change,
as in individual transportation, not what you call them, really.
I think so. I think maybe that might become a viable alternative
because they're not being told to get onto them. Is that a thing?
Well, it's because they're told they can't go on the road with them.
Well, it's true, but you're not allowed on them. So then everyone wants to go
popular. Yeah.
So should we be going, look, if you don't buy these electric cars, we're going to ban them in 2035, and then everyone will go out and get one? Is it reverse psychology?
I think it's reverse psychology with some people, yeah.
It is like your child, though, isn't it?
You'll get a criminal record if you drive an electric vehicle, and you can bet that all the young kids will be going, I want a Tesla when I grow up, man.
But, let's change that to now Tesla. Quite possibly one of the most divisive brands, and I'm talking about probably past even Apple.
Oh yeah.
Let's go to America because obviously it's an American company. American people either hate Tesla with a major passion, which I don't understand because it's an American company, with American jobs, bringing in taxes and all that sort of stuff.
It would be...
They either hate them or they're so far up Elon Musk's ass, it's like you don't know where he starts and they stop. Yeah.
There's no middle ground.
There doesn't seem to be. I mean, if anyone's listening to this from America, please use my Twitter feed at EVManUK to see whether or not this is...
Is this true? Is this just...
This is us looking from outside looking in.
Yeah,
there's a big division there.
Yeah, maybe there isn't. This is just what you see, online
on TV.
But there does seem to be a massive, like you said, a massive division, doesn't it, between?
Well, call roll.
It's almost like Apple fans, isn't it? People that queue outside of an Apple store for 2 days before the latest iPhone comes out.
Well, that call rolling isn't a thing over in Europe.
No.
I've seen a couple of people.
Smog diesel engine, isn't it?
Where they've obviously remapped to diesel to pump out just pure smog, and then they wait until they get to the side of an electric vehicle and cover it in soot, effectively. And I see lots of videos about that. It's like anything, like dash cam stuff, and that's only a thing there. It's not a thing anywhere else. So that's why I keep on thinking it's in many...
So do you do that just to an electric vehicle or to any vehicle?
Not just to an electric vehicle. To like go, ha, you think you're green, so I'm going to cover you in soot.
Then why wouldn't they do that to like a, I don't know, an efficient petrol car?
Because, a gas car's fine, as they would say.
I don't, I can't understand that.
I mean, Tesla do... again, they do, for me, have two types of people, though. Like I said, the people that hate are the fanboys to a major extent.
They all dress the same in the UK, certainly, when we were fully charged. You could tell anybody that owned it. Yeah, they're taking pictures of each other's car. No, that was at a service station, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they could tell. They all dress like retired architects or dentists. It's the Saab owner.
I'm just looking through again my Twitter feed. There's a guy that for some reason keeps on popping up on my Twitter feed, who's very much a fan of Tesla. I believe he's in America. I'll find out when I find him. But the stuff he posts up, I can understand why people would hate. Oh, here he is.
Do you think that's a reason?
Jeff Tutorials.
Is that a reason why people don't like electric cars? Because of the smugness of some of the drivers?
I think that doesn't help. I mean, I'm going to try and find a recent post, which for me is exactly why the Tesla fanboys have
ruined it slightly.
They ruined the reputation. They have a reputation. Wow, this guy's prolific at posting up. I've gone through like 14 pages and I'm on it to yesterday.
Wow.
But yeah, I find effectively he's always posting up about good things. And there's nothing wrong with liking a product and posting up about it.
Everything needs to be realistic, don't you?
Yeah, but when you say something like this, it's only going to put people off. If I can't find out, just basically he says, has anybody noticed that all Tesla drivers are good looking and everyone else isn't?
Really?
Mm-hmm.
He's posted that?
Well, he's probably phrased it in a different way, but I'm going to try and find it for you. But yeah, effectively, what does that say to you?
That's almost... You see, instantly there, anybody who doesn't drive a Tesla is going to go, well, F you, matey.
Yeah, it's like being
smug and arrogant and
militant vegetarian, isn't it? I'm going to go eat some meat because of what you've just told me.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking...
It's not the right way to get people on side, is it?
You don't get that from any other, like Ford fans or anything, do you?
No, you don't know.
So why Tesla fans?
You get that from anybody else? Maybe like... No. Do you get that with prestige cars, though? There's a theory, isn't there, that people that drive prestige cars feel they're entitled on the road?
Well, I guess the BMW Audi sort of cliche that we've always grown up with does kind of back that up.
I'm in an important car, get out the way.
But for me, that is partially why people... Is there some of that? Is it because of this...
I think it's the smugness. I think what you do is you see a couple of people who have them who ruin it for everybody.
Does that go on to then ruining... Or like any electric vehicle is a bit of that reputation then?
I think so, yeah, because you go, look at that smug.
They're very vocal, aren't they? They're the real Tesla fanboys. And again, I own a Tesla. I'm not saying they're not good, and I'm not having to go at the Tesla fanboys. And the reason why I'm saying that is because if you don't, they will jump on your social media and it'd be like an army coming to try and destroy your social media profile because you dared say something bad or even vaguely negative about a Tesla.
Do you think it was a lot of the early adopters, the people that were really into it, are almost like before you said, the militant vegan? And there's people now that are vegan just for health benefits rather than for anything else.
Possibly. I mean, no, I find it.
And you get the ones that just show you pictures of slaughterhouses.
Yeah. I'm still on this Jeff guy. I've been scrolling literally down the entire time. I'm still on a 6 days back.
Fumming Jeff.
I wish every CEO would be like Elon Musk. That kind of right.
With what evidence based on a link to a website?
I don't know. Massive respect to all Tesla delivery advisors. We appreciate you with a heart. And again, not wrong with being a fan of
it's almost
brand.
Like a brand ambassador.
Yeah, which they don't have. But
they don't need. They've got Jeff.
No, they don't, do they? That's why they don't have a marketing thing. But it also gets to the point where you end up apologising for the shortcomings of Tesla, don't you? Like the panel gap situation that I've personally experienced. They said was within tolerances.
You can get your little finger in it,
and they won't fix it. And they'll go, well, you know, how many people posted on that video of mine?
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's only a new company. Or they're trying to save the world with electric vehicle. What?
It's a 40 grand car. Yeah, and they can't even put a paddle on properly.
No. So they're brilliant, but they're not perfect. But it just, I think, because it's like a refusal to say something's bad, which Apple people, I guess there's a bit of that there, but not to this extreme. Do you think the people who own Apple products also have Tesla products? I'm talking about, really heavily invested. Not, I have an iPhone. I really like it.
The people almost seem blinded by it.
But then, is that a reason for the division that we've kind of started off talking about in this video? Because the fans are so far of a fan, shall I say, that they're I guess they put people off.
I guess it probably doesn't help. I think, like you say, maybe I think definitely, it has to be. It has to be. You've got to think why these people don't like it. And maybe it's a little bit of a lot of things, but I think certainly a lot of the Tesla fans certainly add to it.
I think and then that kind of spills over to EVs in general.
Yeah.
Because Tesla is seen as the electric vehicle.
It's the default brand, isn't it?
It is. And with good reason. We're not saying it's not, but that for me is part of it as well. But then again, it goes back to that the government are saying, we are going to push you into one of these whether you like it or not. Or at least some governments are.
So we're saying that's probably a massive reason.
I think so. Just like the vaccines, like everything else.
Smarmy bastards. It's probably another reason.
Effectively, yeah.
I guess those are enough, aren't they? But you'd still think that most people would just step away and go, I don't want to, rather than just going, right, well, I don't want to, and I'm going to tell everybody on social media that I don't want to, and these are the reasons why.
Absolutely.
It's not like loads of people have lost their job, is it, because of electric cars?
Well, arguably, Tesla, becoming a very big company. I mean, the decline of the American, like the Detroit sort of.
That was well before.
Well, yeah.
Electric cars. I mean, it's nothing to do with EVs.
But I guess if we do use that American analogy, is that why there seem to be quite a bit of hate for, say, Japanese cars? Because they're effectively the ones that took over.
Or Crapanese, as they call them.
Maybe. You know what I mean? It's like they're better than us, and now like everyone seems to be buying them in America, but.
Because
so effectively the people buying the cars are causing the problem, but then complaining about the fact that the American cars are getting bought and getting bought.
Well, yeah.
Same with European. It probably happened over here, didn't it? When the Japanese started making much better cars than the British brands that no longer exist.
Well, we were so far behind with our production, weren't we?
Yeah.
In terms of technology and reliability, that the Japanese didn't have really much to. Well, we didn't put much of a fight, did we? Really?
No.
Do you want to buy a Japanese car that hardly breaks down? Of his Austin Allegro.
But people did hate through me growing up anyway, a lot of people hated Japanese cars because...
Well, look at the bad name Datsun had.
Well, yeah, that's why they changed it to Nissan in part, I guess. Even now you get that, don't you? Oh, you got a Datsun?
Yeah.
Most people... I bet half of the people we work with, I've never even heard of Datsun. They've been gone that long. But I don't know. This guy's so prolific, I might as well give up.
Going through.
I've scrolled down more to the point where I don't know if there's any more Twitter left, and I'm back about 8 days. But effectively, he said, "Have you noticed that everyone who drives a Tesla is good looking?" That alone, I want him to punch him in the face just for being so arrogant.
That's not true. I've seen some people driving Teslas.
I have one.
Dog ugly.
But that's just an example, and I'm only using this fella. If you're listening, it's not personal. It's because you keep on coming up on my Twitter feed.
It's an example. And if you are listening, please
just like and subscribe.
Yeah.
But I think that's the realistic nature of it. If someone, you know what, Teslas are brilliant, but this and this, they need to work on this.
Well, there's nothing. So of all the cars I've ever driven, there's none of them that I've ever got out of and gone, this is excellent at, everything. It's for future as well. There's always something, isn't there? And if you're getting something like people might go, well, the Taycan's an amazing car. Well, you're getting the Taycan, you drive it, and yeah, it's an amazing car. I'd love one, but the price.
Yeah.
There's always something. There's always something, isn't there? If that was 30 grand, then there'd be nothing to go. Wow, nothing would touch it. But
no,
if you're paying 90 to 120 grand,
and you are with the Model S now, aren't you? The plaid ones especially. And
you don't even get a round steering wheel.
Do you think there's also a bit in that, actually? Because the plaid is deliberately... Basically, it's one of the fastest cars production cars you can buy.
1.9, is it?
Well, that's when it's... God, here we go again. That's when it's not from standstill. It starts to creep forward before they start the 1.9. I don't know the full story. I have to get it on my phone again. But effectively, it's just after it starts moving, it's 1.9.
Yeah. And I remember that Olympic 100 metres that I ran in and got gold medal. I started running just before.
For everyone else.
Yeah.
I think...
I did really well in that one.
But maybe it's because the Tesla because of the very nature of EVs, have produced cars that in a straight line are quicker than anything else.
I've seen videos of a guy with a Tesla Model S in America racing hot rods on the road.
He used to like the where they bet on it as well. The illegal stuff.
And he won a good 95% of the races. Yeah. But he really upset some people who spent lots of time and money on these hot rods.
Tweaking their, I don't know, Mustang or the
there's
Dodge
a race
Charger.
I saw where they got to the end and this guy got out and he threw his hat on the floor. He was effing and I thought he was going to hit him. So we'll do it again. And you had a better side of the road than me.
Yeah. So let's do it on the other side of the road.
They beat him same again. It's like, well, and it's just a faster car.
It was a production car with 5 seats and all that as well. He did strip it out eventually.
He did eventually, didn't he? Yeah.
But I think that's what I mean. It's almost like that, isn't it? Due to the very nature of an EV, it's so easy to make them quicker. You could spend a fortune on this petrol car.
Oh, yeah.
And the only people that ever beat that car, really, because it was a performance...
You'd have to... The only way you're going to beat
it... was a proper dragster, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, like big fat tyre. Not a proper dragster,
but something that's a bit more...
Yeah, where they've just they've geared it purely just to do the drag strip.
The only way you beat an electric vehicle, like a Tesla, is at the top end.
Yeah.
So
the quarter mile's not a great...
The 0 to 100, you're not much that can really touch you.
No. And you'll always get a good set off on an EV as well. You can't get it wrong, like miss the gear.
It's a computer game.
It is.
Even if you've got bad traction, the car will figure that out.
Yeah.
It's like the Taycan when you put your foot down in the Taycan with the launch control. It almost had a split second where you could tell it was calculating the surface tension, wasn't it? It was slip, and then just went.
Do you think that's almost like for the real passionate enthusiasts, for the petrol heads? Is it a punch in the face that it's quicker than something they've put so much effort into?
I think so.
Easily.
Yeah, and also I think
that's another reason why they hate them.
Yeah, the fact that that a 17-year-old kid could get in one and pull off a 2 to 3 second 0 to 60 every time.
Yeah.
There's no skill. You just get in it and you plant your foot. And I think you could say a little bit maybe that the DSG style gearbox is a similar sort of thing.
You're still not going to get. You've still got to be in the peak rev range.
You have, yeah.
There is no peak, as it were.
It's just all go in it.
Yeah, full torque from 0 revs. So I think there's a bit of everything in there because they're genuinely quicker and more efficient.
Yeah.
Therefore, the argument of my dad harder than your dad is.
Do you think it's the cost of a Tesla as well? Because when the Model S was out, it was an expensive car, wasn't it? It still is now.
Yeah.
And do you think the fact that it's like, you can afford one of them? Is it become a bit like people who drive exotic cars,
an elitist sort of thing?
I drive. Oh, look at me, Range Rovers, for example. Look,
but nobody goes on Range Rover videos.
Aston Martins.
Yeah, but even then, no one goes on these videos and goes, "Oh, look at this idiot reviewing an Aston Martin that no one can afford."
But you do hear from people who do drive exotic cars that they get gypped from
abuse. Yeah, definitely.
I can't believe someone would buy something that ridiculous.
Well, I know somebody who's bought a recent, ridiculously high performance, beautiful car, £300,000, really quick, and it's not electric in any way. And he went to pay for some petrol,
as you would do quite a lot.
Yeah, well, he gets 34 miles a gallon out of something that has 600 on brake horsepower. But anyway, he was getting petrol, and he was he was paying it, and there was a woman behind the counter, and she went, "Oh, that's a bit much for me. I don't think I like that at all. I'm not sure I like that." And he went, "No, it's all right. It's not mine," even though it was.
Yeah.
And then she went, "Oh, well, whose is it?" And he went, "Oh, it's my boss's." Because he don't want the hassle.
It's not worth the argument.
Oh, well, tell him he ain't got any taste. And he, blah, 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 all that sort of argument. Yeah. And then he handed over his credit card, which probably said the same name on it.
As his number plate.
The number plate. And I don't think she knew, but that's why he didn't say it was mine. Because he's probably going to get abused.
Yeah.
I'll just say it's my boss's and I'm just driving.
Why have you got all of them? You're compensating for something.
No, I can just afford a £300,000 car. But why is that a bad thing? Success is now a bad thing.
Well, I think that's the thing, isn't it? Is it the thing of being successful, but then some people feel like it's wafting it in your face. There you go. I've got loads of money. You've got none.
Well, I get that every now and then. I'm in my ivory tower because I own even with the Leaf, I owned an electric car. It's only for people who are rich.
Ivory semi-detached tower.
Yeah. Even because I have a driveway and somewhere to charge it at home. It's like I'm shitting on the paw.
I'm thinking, with driveway, a half a mile stretch of tarmac. You've got a little space outside your house for 2 cars.
In fact, one side.
One sideways, isn't it?
But because I have that driveway, I get a lot of abuse for it.
I think maybe it's a different thing. Certainly in London, you don't have a driveway, do you? Unless you have a lot of money.
No, but you have public transport.
Yeah,
which here, we don't.
Up here in Yorkshire. Unless you get a typical terraced house where those were designed for cars, all new houses come with either driveways or parking spaces, don't they?
Yeah. So it's the old housing stock. But there was someone that posted up on Twitter, I think it was yesterday actually, who said that this is so unfair. It's because of the price of energy. Yeah. It's so unfair. Instavolta just announced it's gone to 50 pence.
Yeah.
That anybody that can charge at home is so better off compared to those that can't.
I think it's unfortunate,
but. I'm like, well, hang on a second here. Just put this in context. My house without a driveway would have probably been £20,000-30,000 cheaper.
Yeah.
So am I actually financially better off by having that driveway because I'm saving X on fuel all this time? It's just life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Some have, some don't. My house is worth probably it is worth less than than my brother's.
Yeah.
And there's mine's a bigger house.
Yeah. But it's just where it is.
His is down south.
Yeah, well, that's it.
So should I be complaining my house isn't worth a lot because I'm in the north?
Yours is smaller, but it's worth more.
Yeah, so it's... I guess there's
I mean, you've got to feel for people that can't charge at home for any reason.
Well, I wouldn't probably own an EV now without it. It'd be difficult anyway.
It would be difficult. So I do understand where they're coming there, but
but that's the reason not to get one, not to hate one. Or not to be against people that do have a drive. Yeah.
It's like, hang on a minute. Don't have a go at me. Have a go at the council for not having some, a charge point at the end of your...
Yeah. Well, I think, the snow seems to have eased, so I think we should go out for a drive after this. And we need to find people with swimming pools to punch in the face, because I can't fit a swimming pool or afford one.
I can't, no.
So I think they're idiots for having swimming pools.
Absolute idiot. Well, not idiots. You know what they're doing? They're rubbing it in our faces, aren't they?
What, by swimming?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm not even that good a swimmer.
I'd probably never even use mine.
No. I'd see it. Do you know, I'd use it once and then that'd be it. So I'm just going to have a toilet break and a drink.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what, we're pretty much at the end. Should we finish it?
We can
you hold on that far?
Hold on that far?
That long. Sorry, I was looking. I was looking at the wrong thing. I was looking at that pussycat over there.
And it is very cold outside as well. So
that's what you told me. Right, let's end. There is definitely division. That's irrefutable.
Yeah. If you can think of any other reasons, please respond on Andy's Twitter feed
at EVMan UK. It's easily found, or you can find the link on the website.
Because there's got to be other things that we've missed. Yeah,
I think it's predominantly though because it's been pushed by lots of governments.
Pushed by the man.
Yeah, the man that can't be telling me what to do, damn
Not
it.
the man from Del Monte.
No. I mean, I already obey the speed laws and seat belts and not drinking at the wheel.
Yeah.
But this is just a step too far.
How dare they take this petrol engine off me that I can still use after 2035 if I want to?
Forever, as long as it's running, you can still use one.
Yeah.
But yeah, that for me is the biggest one. Just like the vaccine thing.
Do you think there was this with the horse?
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Right.
I believe a lot of people will say, well, why would I? Because obviously back then the car was relatively rubbish. You could probably go further and quicker on a horse.
Probably very expensive as well.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, I think it's because there's a push for it, a mandated push. And then there's that division.
I guess as well, it doesn't help with the cost of EVs being so high compared to an equivalent cheap petrol. But that's
it's like when smartphones first came out, were really expensive and
buggy. You saw yuppies with them, didn't you?
Yeah, I suppose.
And did people hate smartphones? I guess if you saw somebody in the 80s with a smartphone, or not a smartphone, so if you saw somebody in the 80s with a mobile phone, you probably thought, prick. yeah, sell.
Del Boy with his Filofax. Yeah. But not to the point where it'd make them angry enough that if the internet did exist back then, they would actively seek these people out to abuse them.
Right to their local newspaper to put a column in.
Yeah. So, well, there we go. I think we have we filled enough time for a podcast. That's about 3/4 of an hour.
That's bad enough,
That's basically what a podcast is, isn't it? Yeah. Filling up enough time with enough gumph, as if you're at the pub having a chat with your mate, and that's it. That's
it's enough time just to cover you travelling back from work.
Yeah. I'd love to. In fact, I'd like to know where people are when they listen to this. Are they travelling? Are they at home just listening? Are you doing housework? Who knows?
Yeah.
Because I don't really listen to that many podcasts, if I'm honest.
I don't know. No.
I do actually for a radio podcast, I guess, if I'm travelling back. And
a long journey, I think, but I don't. Yeah. None of my journeys are above an hour. I'd like to. I don't know.
I don't really go for walks or either like that.
Not when it's snowing.
Well, no. But you do. It's an ideal podcast territory. Why do you not use podcasts?
I've only got voices in my head all the time, so it's...
Get that electric car binned off, Kill him. So, no, there we go. I think we're done. So, yeah, that's effectively how I see it. Yeah. It is still divisive, and until it becomes 70% common,
and then
it'll be
people
normal.
Bother,
like a smartphone, it'll be normal. Yeah. Everyone's got one. It won't be anything a big deal. So, I think we're done. You're jiggling up and down, needing the toilet. So, I think we'll end that on the last word, which is...
We.